It is the duty of the free man to resist tyranny at every turn. Every man will either watch his freedom stripped away or take action to protect what he loves. Introducing the A3, the newest revolutionary body armor from Armored Republic. The A3 is the new standard for lightweight multi-hit body armor. A3 plates are incredibly light at 4.6 pounds. The patented design captures fragmentation while remaining multi-hit capable. The A3 will stop up to M80 ball, yet comes in at only 0.7 inches thick. The A3 is the thinnest NIJ.06 compliant or certified composite standalone plate that includes the drop test. The A3 is the first of its kind, patent pending, that combines an alloy strike face with polyethylene backing, revolutionizing body armor technology by providing strength and durability while remaining sleek and maneuverable. The A3 is the new standard in lightweight body armor. The fight against tyranny just got stronger.
There we go. Boom.
Don't miss. Handle don't miss. The boy don't miss.
It's so good. Hey, y'all. Welcome to Beer and Psalm Wednesday. Pastor Toby Chuck Knox, I'm the water boy, and we're here with the Stumbler, a Russian Imperial Stout. We're gonna drink down the Russians today. That's what we're gonna do.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you guys haven't heard, we're actually suspended from YouTube this week because
great.
you know when you have Dr. Peter McCullough on, that's what happens.
We didn't do it.
You get suspended.
Also, we're not sorry.
And sorry, not sorry.
No,
not even sorry.
Not even sorry.
Yeah.
Not even.
And so during this Advent season, as you guys
been
join our club
we've been
and
very
support
bad.
our show,
We've been very bad.
Yeah,
and
very
we
bad.
plan to be badder.
Yeah.
We're gonna step it up.
With your help. Stop. I'm gonna read the.
Okay.
Stop it.
He will
He's trying
do
to do my ad for me. It's Christmas, so join the club.
Pa-rum-pum-pum-pum.
No.
Sean Kingston, man.
He wants to take over my ad
I got
one
him.
way or the other.
I got
Just
him.
kill it.
He's
You got
down.
it.
You
Yeah.
got
He's, open up your beer, man. Your Russian beer. Your what's that guy's name again? That Boot guy.
Boots, Victor Boots.
Yeah. Probably got it from
On your
him.
bottoms.
That's Yuri Bezmenov.
Oh, that's right. Wrong Russian. It's Christmas, so you really should join our club, especially since YouTube wants us to feel awful and bad and sad, and we don't. Yeah. We're not sorry. We're going to keep saying the same things again and again. We're going to get the truth out there. And just to incentivize your Christmas spirit during the month of December, the first 75 people to upgrade, how many are, I mean, we have some left?
Yeah, we got some.
Okay, there's still some left.
Yeah.
If you upgrade or join the club to gold or platinum club membership,
Man.
you will get our 32-ounce Kodiak Christmas
That's right.
Santa Claus water bottle and free subscription
Santa Claus water bottle.
to our Fight Laugh Feast magazine. Is Santa Claus red? I mean, isn't it?
That's
right?
good. I'll
Totally.
take it.
Candy cane red?
take
What do you want? By joining the Fight Laugh Feast army, you not only will be aiding in our fight to take down YouTube and Facebook and all of the other secular and legacy medias, but you'll also get access to content placed on our club portal, such as past shows, all our conference talks, and exclusive content for club members that you won't be able to find anywhere else, like backstage conversations with like people like Matt Strickland who are told us top secret information.
We got an update.
Backstage.
Matt texted me and he said they won today.
They won. Like,
They
what,
won.
in what way?
He said they're getting their license back and they don't have to pay anything.
Like,
I think they got the cross-Baltic bump. That's what happened. I think that's what happened.
Yes.
And he said they're getting their license back and
That's what it was.
and they don't have to pay anything.
I tagged Elon on Twitter. I think that was it.
If your company is being hassled by the federal government or the local government,
come on,
Cross Politics.
We got you.
The day
we got
after
you.
we get done doing the show, you winning.
Fox will cancel you. We got
winning.
you.
We don't have the big money of woke media, and so our club members are crucial to this fight. Help us keep helping small business owners in America, like Matt Strickland. So join the
That's
movement.
right.
Join
That's
our
true,
army.
though.
Sign up today at fightlaughfeast.com.
As you know, this past week, Biden, actually yesterday, signed the Disrespect for Marriage Act, or as they're calling it, Respect for Marriage Act. But, you know, they got personal pronoun problems too.
Right.
And he threw this big party on the White House lawn,
Oh, of
celebrating
course.
the Disrespect for Marriage Act. He
Yeah.
lit up the White House last night and PLGBT colors.
In Noah's Ark
Yeah,
colors.
the Noah's Ark colors.
Right. Right.
I also think we need to put the P before the LGBT instead of LGBT.
PLGBT?
Yeah, PLGBT. We need to do that. You know, pedophilia, PLGBT.
Right.
Yeah.
Groomers.
I think that's actually a good idea, Gabe.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
PLGBT. I'm going to do it.
Anyways, here's Biden's kind of wrapping up his talk on celebrating the signing of right before he signed the Disrespect for Marriage Act.
Racism, anti-Semitism, homophobia, transphobia, they're all
Arachnophobia.
connected. The antidote to hate is love. This law and the love it defends strike a blow against hate in all its forms. And that's why this law matters to every single American, no matter who you are or who you love. This shouldn't be about conservative or liberal, red or blue. No, this is about realizing the promise of the Declaration of Independence, a promise rooted in a sacred and secular beliefs, a promise that we're all created equal. We're all entitled
This is
to what
love.
Abraham Lincoln called an open field and a fair chance. You know, there's nothing more decent, more dignified, more American that we're about what we're doing here today. It's about who we are as a nation. It's about the substance of our laws. It's about being true to the best of the soul of America. Decency, dignity, love. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. And now, let me sign the Respect for Marriage Act into law.
It's not about conservative, liberal, red, blue. He's got voice and modulation problems.
I don't think that's the most significant problem.
No.
He has.
No, it's
But
not.
that's what Gabe heard.
Yeah.
That's
I can't get over how.
Gabe's like, where is
like
his
this-
speech coach?
Yeah.
this is offensive. The way he talks.
I'm deaf in one ear. I need up and down. you know?
Notice first of all, he appealed to all the gods of the pantheon.
Yep.
Homophobia, arachnophobia,
Racism,
I don't know, all the other things.
raceophobia.
all the gods.
Yep.
He appealed to all the gods. He appealed to God, the
Yeah.
creator.
Yeah.
God bless America. God
Yeah.
bless our troops. God protect our troops. You know, God's not going to protect our troops.
No.
You know what?
I mean, he's doing something that, like, he's giving God the middle finger,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
appealing to the creator. Who's that?
Yeah.
Who created us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who created us?
Yeah.
Right?
God.
And does he have, I mean, how do you know he created us?
Right.
Where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
And why? And what gives you the right to redefine what marriage is? You can't. You aren't.
Right.
You're blathering nonsense, and then you have the audacity to ask the God that you just blasphemed
Yeah. To bless you.
bless us, and bless our troops.
When I saw the White House lit up in the ARC colors, but we know
arc
what they
arc
mean. What
colors.
they mean is the PLGBT colors,
right, groomer colors.
the groomer colors. And my response was, man, this picture should bring us to pray for our nation right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because for them, they're calling on the judgment of God,
right.
and I want to call on the mercy of God. Of course, if God judges us, I'm ready for it. But I want to see Joe Biden repent.
Right.
I want to see Joe Biden get this evil off the White House lawn.
Right.
But here's what's crazy. I just don't trust any politician anymore. Conservative.
That's
they're-
not crazy. I've known you haven't trusted politicians for years.
Yeah, I know. We've
You
it's
say
true.
this
That
on
is
every show.
Fair point. Every show, almost every show. But here's what Joe Biden was saying in 2006 about DOMA.
Okay.
You know, think about this. The world's going to Hades in a handbasket.
You're telling me.
We are desperately concerned about the circumstance relating to avian flu. We don't have enough vaccines. We don't have enough police officers. And we're going to debate the next 3 weeks, I'm told, gay marriage, a flag amendment, and God only knows what else. I can't believe the American people can't see through this. We already have a law, the Defense of Marriage Act, where we've all voted, not where I voted and others said, look, marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that. Nobody's violated that law. There's been no challenge to that law. Why do we need a constitutional amendment? Marriage is between a man and a woman. What's the game going on here?
You know, one thing we should be mindful of, though, if you got to put this in your constitution like that,
Yeah.
then you've already lost the battle.
Right.
Like whenever that's already something you don't. This is really hard for us to get.
It's like passing an amendment that says water runs downhill.
Right, exactly.
Gravity, it's a law.
Too late.
When you start saying, why do you have to tell your kids this or you have to tell people this, then you got to start going back and say something is broken further upstream.
Yeah.
And we can't fix it by passing laws to do that.
Right.
Now, it's because it already should be. We don't even need a law for this.
Yeah.
Although, so this is really interesting to me, guys. Pastor, I'm sorry, I should have poured you some, man.
That's right. No, that's right.
I do have to say, though, that it's been interesting watching Democrats and people on the left take marriage away from conservatives and watching conservatives let them and them legislate this type of morality. They're not having the same. It's really weird. I'm watching so many Christians have these fights. I think it's Andrew Walker's even talking about, he did a review of Christian nationalism by Stephen Wolfe. And the fact that we're even debating on whether or not the state has a responsibility to push and enforce a certain form of morality, that it belongs to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords who died for this nation to have the ownership of it, that these kings throw down their crowns to him. And we're wondering whether or not the country should have a law that institutes a biblical form of marriage and then enforces that. We're having that debate. They're not having that debate. They're not having that debate.
No, they understand that the government is always enforcing morality.
Some sort of morality.
There's always a God. There's always a religion. There's no neutrality. They're more Van Tillian than Van Tillians.
And we're sitting up here questioning whether or not that should be. So it's not a question of if it's going to happen. It's already happening, and we're giving up this ground by being neutral. David French, he's lost his mind.
Yeah.
That space doesn't belong to secularists. There is no plurality. Do you understand that? This is Christ. He owns it. He died for it, and you give it to him, and you work in obedience in that way. And part of the way we do this isn't by fighting for that space necessarily. Not the same way that the world fights for it. We fight for that space in the way that we live joyful, Christian, loving lives in how we manage our families and our children, and then that bleeds all the way out into society, right? And so, but
this is why Jesus said, "All authority in heaven and earth is given to me." So that includes America,
right?
That includes Great Britain, that includes Ukraine and Russia and China. Yeah. All of it belongs to him. He says, "But therefore go, disciple the nations." So discipleship is where it starts.
Yeah, that's right.
Training up your children. Sharing the gospel with your neighbors, loving your neighbors, serving those around you, starting businesses, providing goods and services that are blessing to your neighbor in the name of Jesus. That's why it starts there. Yeah. That's the tip of the spear, is worship, discipleship, and on the ground local ministry.
There is a tendency for Christians to groan when they see stuff like this, and then at the same time say, but the civil magistrate has no allegiance to the cross, right? and they hold these two things together. Oh, shame! It's so sad. And it's like, but you don't think that they should be up there saying, "Listen, homosexuality is illegal. It is a judgment on our nation to have homosexuality, and we want to promote things that are good and righteous." For what is this, Romans 13, right? We want to promote good and we want to punish wickedness.
Right. Yeah.
Well, they're doing it. They have in their laws
wickedness.
And we're sitting up here wrestling over, but is there religious liberty?
Yeah.
Right? Do we have to do it too? And they're like, well, just give it a minute. We're going to get rid of that too.
Yeah. Right.
That's not, no. And it's just frustrating to see the fights that we're having and the ground that they're taking. And it's just like.
And Christians don't realize
they're
what's
already
going on.
So far ahead of us on this conversation. It's really disappointing for people who are following Christ, act like he has a space that he's relegated to and not.
This is an area where he is over in some kind of vague, innocuous way. Yeah. But we're not. But
and you know what I think it is? I think it's because they're afraid of the punishments. They know the law of God, but they don't want to talk about it. What are the consequences of these things?
Of disobeying God's
What does
law?
it look like when a man doesn't love his wife and goes out and commits adultery and fornicates?
Is there a criminal consequence to that?
And nobody wants to really have that question answered because they think that's all Old Testament stuff.
Yeah.
But it actually has something to do with whether or not you have sin in the land.
Right.
And when you have sin in the land, the camp, it affects your whole land,
your whole
especially
city,
your whole
state.
It's maybe also a form. It's funny. I skimmed through the Andrew Walker I did.
Article.
And it's like almost in some ways, I think he was saying that he thought Wolfe was a little bit too romantic about the possibilities of we're talking about something that's never going to happen. And number one, I would say, well, I mean, America really was very Christian at one point. It has happened.
Yeah.
Pastor, I'm sorry. Posit for me how to do it.
But yeah, sure.
That's ridiculous.
But here's my point: is I actually think the point you're making is another form of romanticism. It's like he's imagining a world where there's no death penalties, where there's no, and it's like no, it's not whether you're going to have a death penalty; it's who's going to die.
Right.
Yeah.
And right now we're slaughtering babies by the millions.
Right.
Right. We have death penalties out the wazoo.
Yep.
We have, massive death penalties being executed so that Biden can sign that kind of law.
Yeah.
So that you can continue to hump whatever you want all day long.
Right.
Without any kind of repercussions and the natural fruit that comes from sexual union. Don't worry, we can cut that off.
It was hard enough to get us Christians to think that someone who rapes a woman should get the death penalty. We don't even hold to the death penalty in Christianity hardly anymore.
We got Christians debating whether or not you can murder the baby for the rape.
I have seen so many.
Why are we not talking about the rapists?
I know.
Why you never get to execute one of the victims of a crime?
That's right.
I've watched this happen with theonomy. I'm watching it happen with Christian nationalism. Listen, I see where the Christian nationalism thing is, and I respect what they're doing and the way that they're going. I really do respect it. But what's happening to me is watching people tear down this view of Christ's reign in the civil realm because they think it's an impossibility instead of positing what should we be doing.
Right.
And they did this complete with the army. They tore it down and never posited a way forward. And then they complain about the civil magistrate the whole time.
Which is what I appreciate about Wolf.
Shut up then.
Wolf, who actually critiques theonomy, says they're at least there to be praised for actually trying to posit something positive.
Right. And we can go. I would rather have that.
Let's have that conversation.
I want that.
Let's go.
What's really interesting is the people who are having the conversation with Christian nationalism, whatever it is, they are having the conversation of theonomy ultimately.
Right.
They're saying, how do we apply God's law to the civil realm?
Amen.
And that's the only conversation I care to have, not whether if we should.
Yeah, well, we don't understand how much neutrality has kind of crept in to this whole conversation because, really, all other forms of sexual relationships are parasitic to marriage, to Christian marriage, to Christian sexual relationship.
Right. It's all suicidal.
It's all parasitic.
But it only, and they're able to prop it up because there's actually still marriages happening
who are being fruitful.
That are being fruitful.
Yeah.
And then they groom our kids.
Yeah.
And take them.
And David French, would he recognize that they're parasitic?
Well, he has to say that that what Biden has just done is
a parasite. He signed a parasite bill.
He has to say though that it's good for the nation.
Yeah.
And if you
he came out in support of it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane.
And he flip-flopped him because he said, I used to be against this, but I'm now for it.
That's.
Well, anyways, there's one other connection to this. It was really interesting. I didn't see this video. I didn't actually know it existed before, but in the past, I remember. You remember when Biden drilled Clarence Thomas? Well, apparently there's this video of Clarence Thomas kind of talking.
Okay.
That drill, and so check this out.
That is going to be almost impossible for non-lawyers to grasp in an exchange. But you know, and I know, it is a big, big deal. And in conclusion,
one of the things you do in hearings is you have to sit there and look attentively at people you know have no idea what they're talking about.
Oh, that's so good.
So Biden has always been super condescending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like,
and
I
very confident about it.
I like he's not yelling here at least.
He's smiling. He's smiling.
Not red.
The only thing that
or blue.
The only thing that could have been more offensive, he would have said, "You know what I'm talking about, brother."
What's up, my man?
You're not really black if you're not ready to vote for me.
Yeah. Me and Corn Pop.
Why did we play that clip?
I just like the fact that Clarence Thomas just said Biden doesn't know what he's talking about.
So this is like you just want to pile on Biden.
It's a little funny. Gets my funny bone. So recently, Biden was.
I'm glad we're here for your funny bone, Gabe.
So that's what this show is about.
My funny bone. Recently, Biden was at the U.S. African Leaders Summit in
Washington.
In Washington.
I think it was today, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's today or yesterday. It's yesterday. So it says the producer.
Okay.
Way to go.
I listened to our
the producer's always right, Gabe?
And it blows my mind. It depends. It depends.
Sorry.
Oh, that's
Squirrel.
some backline chat. It blows my mind how much we're in the middle of all this inflation, our economy, and everything, and all the money. We're actually this week. Congress and the House and Senate are meeting to pass a year-long budget bill.
Okay.
It's like 1.6 trillion, something like that. It's got all sorts of pork in it. I guarantee it's got more funding for Ukraine. Well, anyways, Biden's at this U.S. African Leader Summit, and they're wanting to give more money to Africa.
MCC investments are part of the work we're doing worldwide through the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment. I propose this initiative together with the rest of the G7 to help fill the need for quality, high-standard infrastructure in Africa and in low-income and middle-income countries around the world. At the G7 meeting earlier this year, we announced our intention to collectively mobilize $600 billion in the next 5 years. Today's announcement join a portfolio of Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment projects already underway in Africa, including mobilizing $8 billion in public and private finance to help South Africa replace coal-fired power plants with renewable energy sources and develop cutting-edge energy solutions like clean hydrogen. A deal worth $2 billion to build solar energy projects in Angola. $600 million in high-speed communications cable that will connect Southeast Asia to Europe via Egypt and the Horn of Africa and help bring high-speed internet connectivity to countries all along the way. The bottom line is simple. Trade runs on reliable infrastructure to support and secure resilient supply chains.
I can't hear him.
Improving Africa's infrastructure is essential to our vision.
Did he ask his PR people to play this music?
No, we put it in there. We put it in there.
That we've seen.
But here we are, billions of dollars going to Africa. And if I could go to Africa and just give them one little piece of advice, don't take that hook. Don't take that.
That's just
bait.
what a racist would say.
But part of what's going on here is
why don't you want black people to have a whole lot of money? Why don't you? I'm just saying.
Well,
they colonized
real quick.
Them,
If someone came to me and said, "Gabe, I want to bless you with $5 million, my family," and I didn't earn it, I didn't do anything for it. I don't even know what it's like to make $5 million. How do I know how to handle $5 million? That's what I think.
Way more racist. You just said blessed with $5 million. I'm like, well, thank you.
I would be nervous to take that money.
Okay, so I hear
because of potential pitfalls. Because I've never managed $5 million. I don't know what it's like to get there,
especially if it's a thug.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a Godfather. You know, he's like, "Hey,
here's $5 million.
I got $5 million for you."
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have a problem with that. Well, what's going on?
That's what this is, though.
This is.
It's also a proxy war here. This is a little deeper.
What's going on here is this is a fight with China. Yeah. And this is a Cold War battle. Right now, China has been investing heavily into African infrastructure as a proxy war against America. And so right now, America is like, okay, how do we fight against China in Africa? And the pawns are African nations, right? And so they know it. Yeah. They are talking about the fact that that colonization has actually taken on a new front to the point that it's not, oh, we just come in and colonize you. It's now kind of with the dole of hand it out. Yeah. So now we're beholden to you and it looks good in front of people. And so they get what's going on. Yeah. And look, if you're going to beat China, we've talked about this before. We probably need to keep talking about this and hitting this. If you're going to beat a socialist communist nation, you don't beat it out by trying to give more money.
That's right.
Okay.
Don't beat it out by more communism.
The reason why we are exporting out and trying to fight with China this way is because we just saw the Disrespect for Marriage Act. Yep. We are compromised and don't know what beats communism and socialism. Yeah. We think more death will, because that's what we're creating here with this Disrespect for Marriage Act, this fruitlessness. Yep. So we don't have an idea of what fruitfulness looks like or what freedom looks like. Yeah. He should have got up there and said something like, listen, we know that African nations have been the pawn and taken advantage of throughout history. Yep. We know that. You know that. You know what it's like to be beholden to somebody who comes in and rapes your land and holds you hostage through gifts, okay? You don't want that, and we don't want that for you. So here's what we want to do. We want you to have your own internal economy that builds your own things so you don't have to be beholden to anyone.
We want to humanize you.
Exactly. And what taking money from other nations is going to do is dehumanize you. You know how we know? Because we've done it here in America and it was wrong. Yeah. Look what we did to Black America here. We crippled them. Yeah. Nothing could beat Black America through slavery. The whole time the family is intact. Everything is working, advancing in a better way for them. And then here comes Here
Fast
comes
forward to
welfare,
65,
and
yeah.
welfare comes in and destroys the black man and the black family, and
Yep.
now they're desolate in America.
Yeah.
We don't want that for you. Right. We're trying to fix that problem ourselves. The best thing you could do is say no to it, and then we want to send missionaries to come in the church to be a blessing to you, so that you can learn how to grow your own food, make your own infrastructures, build your own things, so that you don't have to be beholden to anybody to take any cash. Right. Because what the end of this is going to be, the strings that China has to manipulate you whichever way you want to go. If we talked like that, I think that would resonate with a nation that has really been ransacked.
Yeah.
And they are already talking about the fact that, look, we don't want this proxy war. And America's playing the same game.
Right.
You're playing the same game as China. How can we, and I don't know yet why Africa is so important to China, but it absolutely is. And I'm sure it has something to do with cutting off our labor in one way or another.
Well, China is actually in the process of collapsing. I mean, they don't have enough people.
Yeah,
so their economy is.
What do you mean they don't have enough people? They got 1 billion people.
No. They have the same problem.
Their one child policy has destroyed them. And they have a massively aging population. They don't have any. I don't know the stats on. I don't have those at the tip of my finger. But the upcoming generation is nowhere near able to take over what
Japan
they have in
too.
place.
Wow.
Yeah. Japan too.
And so if you read people like Peter Zeihan, who I still think you should get on our show, but you never do get the guests on the show that I ask you to.
I've reached out to him.
And but he's not a Christian, not a believer. I think there's some holes in some of his theories, but he's a really interesting geopolitical analyst, and he's basically saying if America just sits tight, China loses. Yeah, China's gone.
I want to add to his analysis though and say sits tight and has babies.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're following this.
Well, part of his analysis is the fact that even with our lack of reproduction, we still have done better than most
because of one generation, the baby boomers.
Yeah. Well, no, he's actually analyzing modern statistics.
Yeah, but he puts a lot of it on the baby boomers are the ones that kind of held us off until otherwise, without that generation, we would have been in trouble.
Yeah. So worldmeter.info says that China has about 1.4 billion people. That's neither here nor there. I'm just.
Thank you.
I'm just.
Thank you for your shirt.
Is
that for your funny bone?
Is that for your funny bone?
No. Is for my data itch.
I want to know how many of them are over the age of 60 or over the age of 50. That's what you need.
It's the replacement population.
All right, stop it. That's all you get. Okay. Dime Payments is a Christian-owned processing payment business. Every business needs a payment process system, so please go to dimepayments.com/FLF and sign your business up today. Working with them supports us. They won't cancel you like Stripe canceled President Trump. They won't cancel you like MailChimp canceled the Babylon Bee. Check them out. At least have a phone call. Tell them that Cross Politics sent you.
Ooh.
Go to dimepayments.com/FLF.
What's the song? Beard song.
Psalm of the day, Psalm 23. There.
Cheers to the king.
Cheers.
Love this version.
Yep. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This is The King of Love, My Shepherd is. You can find it on Spotify. This is probably the most famous of all the Psalms, and it pictures God, the Lord, as a shepherd who both cares for and feeds his people as his flock of sheep. He gives them everything they need, so they don't lack anything, including rest. It also pictures the work of God the shepherd who leads and protects, even in the valley of shadows, with his rod and staff comforting, correcting, and defending. The image, of course, shifts at the end of the psalm from the shepherd sheep picture to the table in the house of the Lord. The poetry may have the tabernacle or temple in mind, or else a royal palace, or maybe both at the same time.
Definitely beer and wine.
There is a cup that's overflowing. Yeah. Many commentators note that David was the shepherd king, and early church commentators frequently translated the opening line as "the Lord is my ruler," interestingly enough, or as this metrical version starts, "the King of love." In fact, in Ezekiel, the shepherds of Israel are actually the kings of Israel, and they are condemned for fleecing the flock of God and devouring them instead of feeding them and protecting them. And then in the Gospels, Jesus says that he's the good shepherd. He's not a hireling who runs off when the wolves come. He gives his life for the sheep. He knows his sheep. He knows them all by name. And in the Gospels, Herod is actually pictured as this false shepherd king, like the old kings of Israel, and he allows John the Baptist's head to be literally presented in his royal palace on a platter, as though he were devouring the sheep, because he feared his table guests. But in the verses that immediately follow, it says that Jesus was moved with compassion because they were as sheep, not having a shepherd, and he began to teach them many things. And right after the disciples tell Jesus that he should send the multitude away, since it's gotten late and they have nothing to eat. But if you know that Jesus is a good shepherd, what's he going to say? You give them something to eat. The good shepherd wants to feed his flock. And this leads right into the feeding of the 5,000. Part of the lesson here is, of course, that Jesus is the good shepherd who cares for his sheep. Part of the lesson is also that he is busy raising up under shepherds, beginning with the first disciples who will be charged with feeding and guarding the flock of God, just like Paul says in Acts 20 and Peter says in 1 Peter 5. And that means lots of teaching, just like Jesus did. Good teaching guards and good teaching feeds. But it's also interesting that when Jesus feeds the multitudes, it says that he instructs them to sit down in ranks by hundreds and by 50s, Mark 6:40, which tells you that Jesus is the good shepherd king, is also raising an army. Herod devours his people. Jesus feeds his people. Herod is destroying his own kingdom, but Jesus is building his kingdom. So the Lord is our perfect shepherd. He's leading all of us together and each one of us individually with name-specific compassion. The King of love, my shepherd is. But he's leading us to his house, to his table, where he's making us kings and priests. He's making us his armies. The charge today is, if you're a leader, imitate the good shepherd king, Jesus is, in caring for your flocks. And the charge to everyone is to trust our good shepherd king. He's leading us exactly where we need to go so that we will lack nothing. And of course, it's no accident that our king was born at Christmas and laid in a food trough. He was born to become our food, our life. And as we gather with his people week after week at his table, in his house, in the presence of our enemies, we are being turned into his armies, his ranks of hundreds and 50s. So do not fear anything. Do not fear Biden. Do not fear the Supreme Court. Do not fear China or Russia. We are right on schedule, right where we are supposed to be. And our shepherd king is with us, leading us, guiding us forever.
There's certain imagery that really affects you when you see it. And you remember there's this video that goes around the internet where the sheep jumps into a ditch, and then the owners come and pick the sheep out of the ditch, and then the sheep runs again and jumps right back in the ditch too. It's changed my mind forever on how dumb sheep really are, and that's us. God's patient with us, jumping into ditch after ditch after ditch. I got a sheep.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. He's a good shepherd.
Yeah,
and
he's keeping us out of the
his
ditches.
sheep. That's right. Amen.
Babe, I have so many jokes about you.
I got more.
And that,
I got more where that came from. Yep.
Sheep. I won't say it. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politic.
While God created the world, the morning stars sang together. After God delivered Israel through the Red Sea, Moses and Miriam led the people in singing. God destroyed Israel's enemies under King Jehoshaphat, while the choir sang. When Jesus was born, the angels sang, and before going to the cross, he sang. God rejoices over us with singing, and one of the only things we know for certain that everyone will be doing in heaven is singing. At New St. Andrews College, we understand that music is not an elective. It is central to our being and identity. We endeavor to train all our students in a joyful and robust musical literacy that will help them shape culture in a Christ-like direction wherever they go. Additionally, we offer the Certificate of Music in conjunction with our bachelor's degree in liberal arts and culture for students who desire extra music training beyond the regular music courses they will take as a part of the core curriculum. In the certificate program, you won't simply appreciate music or listen to it or talk about it. You will do music. You will study it, analyze it, read it, write it, sing it, and play it. You will receive private instruction in your primary instrument, as well as secondary lessons in voice, piano, conducting, and other instruments. You will receive a solid foundation in music theory and analysis. You will study music history, church music, and music pedagogy. And when you graduate, you will leave with the ability to sing, play, understand, and steward music in whatever church or community you plant yourself. I'm Dr. David Erb, and this is the Certificate of Music at New St. Andrews College.
Putting off writing that proposal again? Yeah, we've been there. Proposal writing can be tough. It takes work, and if you're not careful, you can set up your company for failure. Well, that's where we come in. Smart Pricing Table is an innovative application that focuses on, well, the pricing table. Instead of a static document and constant back and forth, our platform creates interactive proposals that empower your prospects. Not sure if something is needed? Make it optional. Have complicated services that vary? Let your customer do the work with line item upsells. Have reoccurring services? Easy peasy. With Smart Pricing Table, you can create attractive proposals quickly. And our system is built for reuse, so you can get out of that hamster wheel. Give your customers choice and close deals quickly with Smart Pricing Table.